A minute, everybody listen. It's been some amazing stuff going on. I am not at my hotel no more. Thank goodness. I got 5 more classes I got to take, but they're not scheduled yet. So I have a little break. Hallelujah. I am so happy because those classes has been challenging, but all overcome. So I thank God for that. And I am moving forward. This book, Disruptive Thinking, is really helping me. I'm so proud of myself, y'all. Guess what? I took my NutriBurst today. I took my NRG today and detox today. So I had all the energy I needed. I felt healthy. I felt great. My body was cleansed. Look, I had an amazing day on this beautiful Friday. It has been wonderful today. I enjoyed every bit of it. I had class the beginning part of the week, and then I had 2 days out in the field. So it's been amazing. When I take my 5 classes that I do by graduation, I will reveal all of my hard work to you guys, tell y'all the areas that I am certified so that I'm able to help you. Remember, I told you guys I am trauma certified. So if you are experiencing trauma, please reach out at WOD 2015 camp@gmail.com. Or if you need prayer, send your prayer request there. Make sure you be specific. It is kept confidential through Women of Discipline Deliverance Ministry. So, guys, I am just amazingly grateful. I'm amazingly grateful for all that I've went through. I mean, my coach always asks us how I went on Fridays, but of course I was at a few. I couldn't even come on the Girl on My Hand Live and tell about my one, but I'll tell it to y'all. I am so grateful that I've overcome every class that has came my way, passed all those tests. Like we had to do a high intense class, and you had to pass a test after every class. Sometimes it's 2 classes a day, could be 3 classes a day. But if you do not pass the test, you cannot go forward in the next level. So I'm very grateful. It has been a really tremendous 4 weeks, like overcoming obstacle after obstacle, getting cram courses crammed into me, helping me to think better, helping me to be better. I mean, it is so amazing. I can't wait to reveal it to y'all. But this book has been helping me too, because this book has helped me work on me. Like, and I hope it's helping y'all. Like, I hope you guys did the survey. Come on, if you did the survey, you need to go ahead and drop some hearts for you doing the survey. If you did the survey, that is amazing, because now you know where you at. You know, it's one thing to know where you at and be starting from the bottom, working your way up. But it's another thing to be going around on that Ferris wheel, around and around and around and around. You ain't getting nowhere. You just talking about going somewhere. But when you actually do that survey that we did on page 10 in the study guide, it helps you see where you at, because once you be honest and forthright with yourself about where you at, then you can start working on them steps to where you are going. See, your vision board is there to set the vision for the path, but there's some steps that you got to take to get there. Like, I was talking to some of the students today, and I let them know, I said, you know, your greater goal might be, for an example, one of them was like, I gave me this card at $60,000. I said, well, your greater goal might be at that card for $60,000, but you got to figure out the steps it's going to take to get you to that $60,000. It's going to require some work for you to get there, you know, because of course the youth that I was speaking with was 16 years old. So, you know, set the vision was set, that their vision was, I'm going to have a car at $60,000. How many of you have set visions, but never seen them come to pass? You prayed about it, you cry, you put them on your board, you done make vision boards every single year, and nothing happened. There's some steps that is required for you to get there, you know? And so just like how I had to persevere through adversity, persevere through obstacles, to complete these classes. And guys, if I start, remember I told y'all in the beginning of this book read group, I used to have a spirit of ignorance on me. I'm talking about ignorance on steroids, to where reading used to make my head hurt, literally. And I used to struggle in school. So school ain't never been my thing. I'm not saying I don't promote school, because both of my children are A students. They do well in school by the grace of God, because the Lord has helped me with them. But I'm telling you, I used to be struggling. So for me to overcome that obstacle and the Holy Spirit to break the spirit of ignorance off me, and I persevered through the adversity. See, that's the key. Perseverance is the key. Perseverance is the key. You know, a lot of people say consistency is the key. Well, you got to be able to persevere through adversity, trials, tribulations, and then you can be consistent at what you're working towards. But you got to persevere, because some things show up and it's be so terrifying and so painful. And it's just like say you grieving a loved one. Some people be stuck in that thing for 10 years. I can't believe he left me. I can't believe she left me. I miss my loved one. And I don't take that away. I know everybody go through death. Everybody go through losing somebody they care about. I get it. But we got to take steps to get past that so that we can live on. Because your loved one who has left you do not want you stuck in this pain for 10 years, 5 years, 20 years, or whatever. And some of y'all might feel like, oh, I just feel stuck. Well, it's steps to come with being unstuck. For instance, I'm gonna use my example. When I've been homeless, I knew in the back of my mind that this is not my lot. However, being in it was very difficult. It was stressful. You know, I had kids and it's discouraging, you know, but I had to build myself up. I had to encourage myself. But I also had to think, okay, we got to get out of the situation. So I got, God already told me, give me a way of escape. We got to escape this. But there was some steps that needed to be done to escape it. See, that's why y'all will see a lot of people who's homeless and they still be on the side of the road, maybe homeless for years, because they have not figured out the steps in their head so that it can manifest right before their eyes. And there are some steps that you have to take. And that survey, not getting off the topic, but that survey helps you to recognize where you're at, but also preps you towards where you're going. And so remember, it was like where you were at, where were you at in the last 10 years? In the last 10 years, how satisfied did you feel about your life experience? And would you rate yourself 1, totally unsatisfied, or would you rate yourself 10, totally satisfied? I rated myself a 1 in the last 10 years, because that's another key. You can't persevere if you're not honest and forthright with yourself. If you lying to yourself, if you deceiving your own self, you're going to stay in that thing until you get sick and tired of lying to yourself. And so taking that survey helps you see, okay, if I was at a 1 10 years ago, if I was at a 5 years ago, if I was at a 7 now, and my goal is to get to a 10, now I know where I'm at, and then now I know what I can work towards. So guys, go do the survey. It's in there, and it's not for me, it's for you. So do the survey, share your survey. We are giving away a free book for those who for one, I'll say the first 3 people that share this survey, do the survey, share your answers in the survey. You could do it through the chat, through the Facebook page, or you could do it through WOD2015camp@gmail.com. And so we are off that chapter. We're on chapter 3 now. I'm excited. Chapter 3. So any questions on live and talk about chapter 2? If you got any questions, let me know. Chapter 2 was amazing. Remember, some of the things he said is that it's really what we all seek to prove to ourselves that we really matter, not seeking to prove things to other people. Because if you do that, you're gonna be run around like that hamster on that wheel trying to prove everybody else. Because people will switch up on you. You better work on you and be great, happy that you prove something to yourself. Because me going through these classes, this for me. This ain't for nobody else but me. I'm proving to myself that I can overcome these classes, especially with my past. You could do, I like Greasy Corner. You could do it, you could do it. You could do it, you could do it. Listen, I'm proving to myself that I can overcome it. And I'm claiming these next 5 classes I got to take too, that I can overcome. So another thing in chapter 2, you have many opportunities to disrupt your life to get the things you need, but your money isn't going to acquire them for you. Neither your fame, neither your beauty. It's a lot of people that thinking money is the reason why they stop. And that ain't the reason why you stop. Money is not the reason why you stop. The reason why you stuck is because you deceiving yourself. You're lying to yourself. You're not being honest with yourself. You're not being honest with yourself. When you be honest with yourself, you can go forward. When you be deceiving yourself and lying to yourself, you're going to stay stuck until you come into the reality that I've been lying to myself all this time thinking I can't do this because I ain't smart enough. I can't do this because I don't got enough money. I can't do this because I don't have the strength. I can't do this because I'm not like sister so-and-so or brother so-and-so. And that's not the case. You can't do it because you ain't being real with yourself. So 3 is disruptive partnership. Disruptive partnership. Y'all ain't ready for this. Y'all ready for this? Y'all ready for 3? Facebook, y'all ready for 3? Instagram, you ready for chapter 3? Zoom, is you ready for chapter 3? Make sure y'all got your study guide turned on page 13. On page 13, we talking about personal, the examples of Jesus. So the examples of Jesus, oh, John, it's about to go down because y'all know Jesus is real gangster. I mess with Jesus. I don't judge nobody else, but I mess with Jesus. That's my dog. All right. So when I was a teenager playing the piano for a community group, a young man who lived in my neighborhood and sang in my group was arrested This didn't happen in our community every day. So it was shocking. I knew him well, so it was also painful to observe. How could this happen to someone I grew up next to? Our parents were friends. I walked past his house every day. Over 50 years later, I still pastor some of his family members. He was arrested and indicted permanently because he happened to be in the wrong car at the wrong time and end up getting sentenced on an armed robbery charge. Wow. Talk about disruptive partnership. Even though he had no gun, he was with people who did. And now he had to pay the price. And even though he was a minor, he was tried as an adult and sentenced away to a maximum security facility. This kid was no more criminal than I am and what astronaut. But what can you do when your resources are limited? Your influence is inconsequential and you fit the stereotypical image of news reporters. You look like what is often portrayed as an objectification of all that wrong in the world. Your options are minimum. So strip search and leg grab, you are introduced to an alternative reality. You will likely lose your chance at education, your right to ever vote. Trauma untreated is your only company. And much of this is the systematic hustle of background, plea, bargaining deal, and indifferently court appointed attorney with heavy caseload and little pay. Action and traded for a strong statistic to become a district attorney, taking points in a campaign speech for the next modern election, handcuffed mother weeping, heart racing, and off you go, locked up with dangerous people who will do God knows what to a frightened little black boy who sang in my choir. Our choir decided to visit the prison and do a concert. We drove several hours in a calvet of cars and hoped to encourage his heart and show we care. However, love didn't diminish my sweeping palms, my speeding pulse, and my sudden awareness that this concert could be dangerous on a whole lot of levels. I will never forget the feeling of being possessed in that prison and having the steel door slam behind me. The bottle door sealed me from a freedom. I was astounded too, but soon it would open my eyes to the first course of America taught on crime policies. It gave me an up close view that results in an increased awareness that every man and woman in prison was more than the number they were called in that debate. They were all someone's child, and many had lost their way. Servantly present of them were incarcerated on nonviolent crime. As American politics had popularized a tough on crime campaign. And yes, it got votes, but it also ripped apart families, did psychological damage, and tore at the soul of our disappropriately Black and brown youth placed in criminal environments. And though they were no worse than the opioid drug dealers of the good old boys, the maturity population couldn't afford to represent that when trial. So we did what all our ancestors did when they felt helpless. We sang, we prayed, and before we left, we cried. The steel doors closed, but my eyes flew open, and they still open today. And just in case your might not be open, allow me an opportunity to sound an alarm that helps you to see that what I'm thinking may penetrate the dysfunctionality without diminishing the dire need to remain vigilant against crime. The United States is the most prolific jailer in the world. A staggering 20% of the total prison population on the planet currently sits in the U.S. penal institution, more than 2 million people. The U.S. makes up only 4% of the global population. Clearly, we have made sufficient investment in the ideal that we can jail our way out of socialist problem like crime. Except it does work. Numerous studies have shown that increasing incarceration rates don't lower crime, but they do have a devastation impact on individual families and communities, wrecking everyone in their previous path. Because our society makes it so difficult to convict people to successfully re-enter society after they serve their time. Gainful employment is difficult, if not impossible to find. Housing resources are limited, and even accessing student aid is nearly hopeless. Nearly half of them eventually return to prison. The cost to our society, not to mention our families and communities, are struggling. What about that? Way to go. Way to walk into chapter 3. Way to walk into chapter 3. Some reality. Remember, we just talked about that being honest and forthright. That is some straight reality. Reality. So I guess once we then get through all the reality of everything that's going on up in chapter 3, then we can know, what we could do about it. That's always the disruptive way to think, what we can do about it. So we're going to pick up on 48 come Monday, unless I feel like picking up tomorrow. I don't know, because I might go to the beach or something tomorrow and enjoy my little free time. But guys, listen, I had an amazing time reading that beginning of chapter 3. What you think about that? What do y'all think about that? Reality for you, because people are definitely, definitely going down for petty things, petty things. So the example of Jesus, as we work through this study together, I will reserve one section of the personal study each week for the exploration of scriptures. Specifically, I want to take a deeper look at women and men in the Bible who operate in as disruptors. This week, We will start with Jesus. So we're going to start out with the big dog, Jesus, the higher, the almighty power, the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. We're going to start with Jesus because when you look through the gospel, there's no doubt Jesus was a disruptive thinker par excellence. There are many examples of Jesus demonstrating disruptive thinking, but I want to focus on a familiar story from the Gospel of Luke. To begin, read the following passage all through twice. That's homework for the night. Read the following passage twice. The second time, if you're able to read the verse, and I'll put a copy of it in the chat, verse out loud. So, on one occasion, an expert is the law stood up to test Jesus. Teacher, he asked, what must I do to inherit eternal life? What is written in the law? He replied. How do you read it? He answered, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul, with all your strength, and with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. You have answered correctly, Jesus replied. Do this and you will live. But he wanted to justify himself. So he asked Jesus, and who is my neighbor? In reply, Jesus said, a man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho. See, Jesus is something else. He always got to make something to the point. I love the Lord. When he was attacked by robbers, they stripped him of his clothes, beat him, and went away, leaving him half dead. A priest happened to be going down the same road, and when he saw the man, he passed by on the other side. So too, a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, passed by on the other side. But the Samaritan, who had no dealings with the Jews, as he traveled, he came where the man was, and when he saw him, he took pity on him. He went to him and bandaged his wounds, poured oil and wine. Then he put the man on his donkey, brought him to an inn, and took care of him. The next day, he took out 2 denarii and gave them to the innkeeper. Look after him, he said, and was a return. And when he returned, I will reimburse you for any extra expenses you may have. Which of these 3 do you think was the neighbor to the man who fell into the hand of the robber? The expert in the law replied, the one who had mercy on him. Jesus told him, go and do likewise in Luke 10:25-37. So you had the priest pass the man, you had the Levite pass the man, and then the Samaritan came and saved him. So how many people have God told you to help? And you walk right past them. Walk right past them. Ain't help them. Ain't help them at all. And then somebody else got to help. You just pray, God, please help them, but you ain't helping. But anyway, I ain't need to convict nobody for that. So read it over and over again. Read it over and over again, because we're talking about how Jesus was a disruptive thinker. That's why he always made everything a teaching point, because he was a disruptive thinker. So y'all have a good day. I already spent up enough of y'all time and enough of my time too. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my night. Watch All American. Y'all have fun.